Hi, Mom. So I got my ticket home from Europe. I get back on June 6th, but it's a really late flight because that was the cheapest, so it gets in at midnight. But don't worry, I'll get a shuttle from the airport so you don't have to pick me up. Like, really, seriously, you don't have to. Okay, so, love you. See you soon. Bye.
The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. I'm just waiting to hear her pull down the hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll go up to the attic and wait. Lonnie came over today, but everything was different. She was sitting at my desk chair, and she wouldn't look at me. Finally, I asked her what was going on. She said she felt like she'd done something wrong that night in the city. Like I must think... But I said no, there was nothing wrong. I just wanted to say words. I felt like I was gonna cry, but I wasn't sad. She got up and sat next to me on the bed. I looked at her. Lonnie, do you think you could ever... And that's when she kissed me. The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. I'm just waiting to hear her pull down the hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll go up to the attic and wait. Katie, I'm so sorry that I can't be there to see you in person, that I can't tell you all this myself. But I hope as you read this, the sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. I'm just waiting to hear her pull down the hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll go up to the attic and wait. Katie, I'm so sorry that I can't be there to see you in person, that I can't tell you all. Dear Katie, so much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm in a new school, and my big sister being gone for a year doesn't make it any easier. It's weird hanging out with girls. Daniel was around ever since I was little, and other girls? I don't know. Lonnie came over today, but everything was different. She was sitting at my desk chair, and Lonnie brought her hair dye over today. She said, "I need to fix these roots. Think you could help?" Dyeing hair is weirdly intimate. I don't know if I've touched someone else's scalp before. That's pretty intimate, right? It felt intimate. We looked in the mirror together after, and I expected her to say something about how it looked crappy, or good, or whatever. Oh my god. You are so lucky you finished high school before we moved into this house. So, it's the first day of school, and there I am, introducing myself to the class, and I say that I just moved into the house on Arbor Hill. All of a sudden, every kid in the room turns and just stares like I suddenly transformed into a mutant. I just stood there, wishing pretty hard for a rewind button. Because now maybe nobody knows my name, but they all know who I am. The Psycho House girl. Great. At Todd's brother's place after the show, there was only a futon to sleep on, so Lonnie and I shared it. The lights went out. I was turned toward her. My eyes started to adjust, and then I could see she was looking at me, too. In the dark, she smiled. You know that feeling where the first moment you see someone, it's like they have a big gold star around them, and you have to get to know them? Well, there's this girl. I think she's a senior. She's usually dressed kind of punk. When you live in one place your whole life, your next door neighbor is kind of like your default friend. And Daniel only got weirder over the years. So you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men? Yeah, turns out it applies to Street Fighter too. At least I worked up the courage to walk into the 7-Eleven and ask for a turn, but all that practice at home did not exactly translate in the wild. It's different now. I mean, we still hang out all the time like before. But now when no one else is around, I'm so stupid sometimes. I was telling Lonnie that I got into my college summer program thing, and I was all... Todd's band lost their singer. Todd said he sucked. Lonnie said he got sick of Todd's shit, and he was complaining about needing a new singer, so Lonnie was like, "They tell you to stick with the group on field trips, Katie. There's a reason for that." Lonnie and I snuck off on the side paths at Multnomah Falls and got a little lost. Okay, a lot lost. Like, for hours. Right before the bus left, we found a trail and came right... I don't get Lonnie sometimes. Like, her band, and our zine, and her hair, and everything are all anti-authority. But I watch her... Katie, you know how Mom and Dad are. Not exactly super open-minded about things. It feels like every minute I don't spend with Lonnie, I spend... I had an interesting talk with Mom and Dad tonight. One you were never gonna need to have. I mean, you've known, right? I've known. I've known since, like, She-Ra. Lonnie had her going-away show with her band tonight. She's so incredible on stage. When she was singing, I could practically forget everything. We agreed our last night together would be our happiest ever, and we'd forget tomorrow was going to come at all. It worked for a while. We had a good time seeing Oscar off, then ran up to the attic to look through our photos, to find one for Lonnie to take with her. And looking at them, Daniel finally came over to get his game. I'd been dreading it. But he brought this story with him that I wrote when we were little. I asked Lonnie what she had to do to get ready to ship out for basic training. She said, not a lot, really. You're not allowed to bring anything with you. You have no possessions, no contact with the outside world while you're in basic. You just train hard every day, and then you deploy from there. So, they'll just send her away. To who knows where. The other side of the country? The other side of the world? My mind, like, can't process it. She's really going to be gone. Just gone. The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. I'm just waiting to hear her pull down the hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll go up to the attic.
Meow, meow. Meow, meow. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Sometimes you just have to lie to Mom and Dad. Like when Lonnie asked me to see a band with her and stay over at her friend's place in the city after. That's a lie to Mom and Dad situation. But it was so worth it. The girls on stage were just so loud and real and awesome. And everybody was moving together like one huge tide of sound. Between two songs, Lonnie leaned over and said, "How do you like your first show?" I was so happy. I felt tears starting in my eyes. And then she up and hugged me. I think she could tell. Oh my God. Katie, I fell asleep in the attic, in Lonnie and my old spot, and I missed the first two calls. I just barely caught the third one before the machine got it. And it was Lonnie, on a payphone. She'd been on the bus to Basic, and she said she couldn't think of anything but me and us, and that she couldn't go through with it, with the army and being apart and all of it. And so she got off the bus in Salem.
So, Christmas Duck. Christmas Duck, is... Hi, I'm Steve Gaynor. I'm the co-founder of the Fullbright Company.
Hello, my name is Kate Craig, and I was creating a lot of the environment assets for the game. Not all of them, some of them.
Oh man, mom handwriting. We went through a lot of different moms for handwriting.
Hi, I'm Chris Remo, the composer on Gone Home.
Hi, this is Corin Tucker from Heavens to Betsy. And Heavens to Betsy was a band that formed in 1991, actually.
This is where you find the first half of Sam's Locker, or I guess it's actually the second half of Sam's Locker combo as far as what the piece of paper is. But when you're putting like land.
So these are all the VHS tapes, or most of them, in the house, and.
My name is Sarah Grayson, and I do the voice of Sam Greenbrier in Gone Home. Currently based out of Portland, Oregon, so right around where the Fullbright Company is from, which is part of, I guess, how this all came to be.
So here's one of Dad's pulpy JFK books.
One of our
The doors were actually one of the hardest things in the game to get working correctly, and I know that there's still...
Here we have Fresh Magazine, which is...
Inside of this file folder, you find the first combination code in the game. This code goes to Dad's locked filing cabinet, and it's 0451, which is a bit of a tradition / in-joke.
Most of the bookshelves in the house are... This is our old-timey record that we got from archive.org, source of all good things. It's by Adrian Rollini.
I feel like one of the best bits of advice was actually from the Fullbright team before going in to do the first recording. And it was a suggestion.
Composing the ambient exploration tracks definitely ended up being the weirdest part of creating music for Gone Home. The audio diaries tended to take precedence since they had such clear criteria for completion.
One of the larger assets that we needed for the basement to really give it character and personality was...
Oh man, this thing.
So 2 things. One, Mom's Canadian. So there's this little...
You know, there was kind of this intellectual, cross-cultural...
There was a little bit of concern on my...
Putback is the feature that I'm happiest with in the game, and it actually came about as sort of a little bit of an accident. Playtesters had told us they didn't want to feel like some kind of horrible person rummaging around this house and tossing everything on the floor, but there wasn't really...
The music for Gone Home was mainly composed over 2 separate periods, roughly a year apart.
Fanzines, I mean, that's one of the things that we started doing right away, was doing these Riot Girl fanzines, and everyone would contribute and write.
So earlier in...
All of the sliding doors that you see in the game are actually, from a code perspective, drawers.
Writing Sam...
You know, it's really about the ideals that we were trying to get across in our music. You know, I think that...
So...
When you put it...
For a long time, the kitchen was not going to be mid-renovation the way that it is.
Definitely the second half was where a lot more of the emotional weight in the character came out.
Oh, you found an Easter egg!
Who found it?
You found it! This is the best! You looked up! No one in a first-person game looks up!
Because there's no rewards to looking up.
Because it's hard to look up.
So that...
I'd already played through the first full half of Gone Home before I started composing any music, which was really important to
Really early on, we didn't really give Kate very specific direction for this. She gave us some... So you want to talk about this fucking jazz mug?
Nobody wants to talk about the jazz mug.
Well,
it's
except
the
for
worst.
Carla.
I hate it. It's the worst.
that was such a common theme when we were like approving assets or making stuff visually for Gone Home. Is just like, oh my god, that's hideous. I fucking hate it. We're putting it in the game.
Yeah,
because like
so
just
much
like
of that.
awful '90s furniture and like
we see it in a secondhand store or like
or you
just
see
on
it in the
internet.
Sears catalog we bought, and it's just like there's so many fucking ruffles on it. I want to puke. Like the wicker furniture in Mom and Dad's. The Goodfellow High School. Yeah, the biggest purpose of the card was to say, oh, Sam is 17. You know, if you look for this thing, but there's so much. We need so much handwriting in. The fact that there are speedruns for our game makes me really happy, and the fact that that the any percent speedrun, aka you don't have to pick up anything, just get to the end as fast.
We never really discussed the idea of individually scoring each audio.
I had seen Bikini Kill and Bratmobile play their first show.
Around here, so these are stereo. Mom and Dad are...
One of the assets that I really liked creating in the game with...
Yeah, I ended up being pretty happy with this. This is the only...
I was one of the hosts of the Idle Thumbs. Barf Burger is enjoyed by all. A lot of Gone Home is about pointless interaction.
The boxes of tampon.
I mean, one of the most comforting things in the world to me is having somebody, like, brush my hair or stroke my head. Like my mom, when I wasn't feeling well, I could lie down in her lap, she would just brush my hair. And it would always make me...
The life cycle of the condom.
That's not a real thing, Steve.
One of my favorite things that came out during development was someone wrote an email mistakenly referring to mittens, and Steve replied in the voice of Katie, saying, "It's just mitten."
Another board game.
So there's a lot less density in the house than there would be in a real house. Like if you look around your house, there's just junk piled everywhere. Probably,
Maybe
like
it's just our house.
I think it's most house.
Oh, you're right.
But so our strategy was almost none of the events, the little events in the game, are scripted as far as like triggering when you.
I really enjoyed playing Gone Home. I have to say it was pretty exciting to find the Heavens to Betsy.
Okay, the Wildfire book. Oh man, look at this thing. Yeah, this was another one of those situations in which I totally felt like a weird creepo when I was doing research, and there was a lot of really horrifying romance novel covers. This poor guy was on...
You want to talk about A Place for Christmas Duck?
This is where Christmas Duck goes.
I think this is one where I love...
It's one of those things where we had always wanted to... So this is the last room in the game, or at least the last room chronologically in the story.
You made it.